This is the second installment on the Monkey Speaks channel pertaining to the playlist, and this will be the first, actually the first installment, because the first thing was the first video, and then the installment's the second thing. This is the second part of the D&D Game Show. It's not a D&D Game Show, idea description. A couple of things, like you have to watch the first video to get this video, and then also like I'm gonna make a playlist and you have to watch all of them to get the whole thing, because that's how I'm going to do it. But previously on the first one, I went over like Edison. Edison is actually 1% genius or 1% inspiration. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% genius. I said on the earlier one, I said like 2%. I don't know, I was thinking milk maybe 2%, and then 94, and that don't even add up. That's 96. The other two, I guess that's magic, right? And then I called Robin Hood the King of Thieves, and he was known as the Prince of Thieves. And then another one of the things, and I mispronounce things quite a bit, misspeak quite a bit. But I said the most important thing in making this the game show is the character interactions. And then I said like the DM or the evil wizard guy, the dungeon master guy playing the dungeon master guy, he interacts with the characters before the fight happens, and best case scenario, the characters get to also interact with the big screen, which will have the monster who might be animated, might be a live action person, or might be a puppet of some kind. Okay, what else? What's your and so heads up. I think I said something that like heads up battle on that part. All right. Now, when naming the dungeon, or I wouldn't call it like D&D. You're not telling me D&D, but I wouldn't go like sorcerer and sword or anything like that. You'd call it like Zorg's dungeon or Zerzimta. Zerzimta is like Zyrtec with Ozimta. So I think it'd be funny if the wizard had like a name. There's so many of those medications out now. If you kind of mess with those, you can make like a cool kind of wizard name. It could bother him that they use his name in all them. In the medication, something like that, or basically the name of the wizard, then his dungeon, and then you build up like a thing around that, where people will be like, oh yeah, something, this guy's dungeon, whatever, Okay, now one of the earliest games that I played, D&D, one of the earliest games that I played in, that they had a DM, and I'm going to start using initials. I'm not going to use people's full names, but the previous video, I used like this guy's sister, this guy. So what I'm going to start doing is people know me will know this, but I'm going to use this. So the first guy's name is MF, and then it was me, and MF was being the DM, and this is my version of Quasit. Quasit don't look like this at all in the D&D's manual, but it was the first kind of funny character interaction that we had in a D&D game. I actually played TSR Marvel before this, and there wasn't really that much role playing going on. We didn't really know what we were doing. We just had characters fighting each other and fighting bad guys. There wasn't that much role playing. But I can vividly remember J.K. playing a paladin, and then we're all in there too. And I think I was playing like a little halfling druid. And I know you can't make a halfling druid, but the DM let me, so I did. And we got to some point where there's like a little guardian dude, and there's like a Quasit, and it's like, pass me and die, pass me and die, pass me and die. And basically is that kind of little like guardian. He's on like a pedestal in front of like a magic door where you can't get through. And I can remember like it being like really like MF being like super descriptive of how the Quasit would like reach into like his where his nostrils should be, and and then like really just scrape around, how like skulls have that big open area, just really scrape around in there and get like a booger. And like when he's talking to you, he'd be like, whatever. And you're like, we demand this. We need knowledge about this dungeon. And he's like, yeah. Why he's just kind of scraping his fingernail along in his little skull. And it's like, we want this answers and stuff. And like, we will kill you instantly. And the paladin's already wanting to kill him. And so he takes out this booger, and he flicks it on the paladin's shield, and he's like, and then the paladin's like, oh, snap, whack. I don't know if he had Holy Avenger, but I like picturing it as Holy Avenger. I don't think he did because he's low level, but it's basically whackadoo, you're dead, done deal. Also, here's another thing. I don't know if quasits are a D&D thing. I know like a homunculus or like an imp, which is basically real close to being the same thing as a quasit. And if this turns out to be a copyrighted D&D thing, a quasit turns out to be a copyright D&D thing, you can make this character like a call it like a homunculus or like an imp or something like that, of that kind, whatever. So, D&D's chock full of stuff like that. It's like, you got all the elves and things, but then you have like the hook horror, and there's even like a video about like the Lost Allied Monsters, where they use like a couple of the monsters, the Bullet and the Rust monster from these old toys. But anyway, so it's humorous, and then it became like, if you ever watch that Aqua Teams where they have that one rapping dude, and then he keeps getting killed. He starts off with candy, and that stuff, and he's like a big bug, and then they find a way to kill him, and then he comes back as a cow, and they kill him. It was that kind of situation, because we go through the dungeon, and then this little quasit would be right back, because basically they're easily summonable, and when you kill those things, they just go to a different plane or whatnot, and then he comes back, and it came over and over the engine, kill him, blah blah blah. Also, that reminds me, no, like during the whole interaction of the character or the wizard or whatever with the players, you never actually have any violence. You have no, and I'm using the word graphic violence, but what I mean is not. There's not ever any real violence. You might have like a character holding like a sword in like an intimidating way or something, but it's all, even though the people are going to be dressed up or they're going to be Muppets or any of that stuff, they all are basically another player character, but not a player character, but basically a person playing the role. So they always, it's like they're in on the joke, to where like they know they're going to be rolling dice. The monster's going to be rolling dice like it was playing the game. And then the wizard, the DM is doing his thing, and then the player character is going to do that thing. So there's not actually going to be any kind of actually shown violence. If the monster wins, it has like a celebrated animated. If you want preset to where you do it beforehand, they have like a preset celebrated animation. If it loses, it has like, oh, and then the wizard condemns it in some ways, like, I thought that I'd get you in the dungeon and you'd be a winner, or he'd be like, oh, well, I didn't expect much from you anyway, or something like that, And where am I at now? Okay. Yeah, so if I get to be in on it, this is one of the main NPCs I will probably I want to make too, because it's I remember it being the first part of the game. And also, like, besides it not being like graphic towards it, not actually shown by it, they don't die permanently. They'll be around the next game. It's like the dungeon is like one of them unescapable things where you die and you're brought back over and over again. So like a lot of them will be disgruntled, a lot of them will be, or that's like a better situation they were in. Some of them will be like, yeah, they really like the wizard. Some of them, different personalities, and they know the situation they're in. Okay, now I know that quasit, like, the way he described the quasit, I look back in the monster manual and it's like, quasits don't even have nostrils. So maybe it was another picture that it was from, that he did the nose picking thing. And then if you look at this is my stylization of a quasit. And also, I have to admit that while I was drawing it, I was like, well, I gotta draw these legs in the background. And then I remembered a Kids in the Hall episode where they had Dave Foley as like a demon, and he's like in a wall, and these people are trying to convince him to like, yeah, you need a demon and he'll help you out and all that kind of crap like that. It's like it's partially like my idea of a quasit, but then as I drew on in the body part, I'm a much better shader than I am a contour outline artist. A lot of my stuff looks doughy sometimes. Well, anyway, that doesn't matter. So is there something else besides that one thing I really want to convey? All right, that's it. This is a short one. This is